Please welcome the president of the Garment District Alliance, Barbara Blair. Congressman Jerry Nadler. The Secretary of State, Robert Rodriguez. And now, the 57th governor of the great state of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you all for being here. It is so fitting to be here at the Fashion Institute of Technology, better known as FIT, today as Fashion Week is in full swing. We know FIT serves as an inspiration for students and the community as it draws on the vibrancy and the creative environment that is New York City. It's the creativity and diversity that make our neighborhoods all across the state unique and in their own right. That's why it's important to harness those qualities and help transform our downtowns and our neighborhoods through economic development programs. And over the past year, I have been following the example of our governor and traveling all across the state to see how we've been investing in our communities and can positively impact a region and a neighborhood. We know that when we invest in our communities, they flourish. We also know that when communities are overlooked and underinvested in, they struggle. And that is why this governor has made it her mission, since even before when she was lieutenant governor, to make sure that there was no community left behind. No New York is ever left behind. So, with that, it is my great honor to have the governor here, because we know that when the governor shows up, it's generally very good news. So we are here to thank the governor for her continued support of our communities all across the state. And with that, so with no further ado, we want the moment that you've all been waiting for to bring up the 57th governor of the state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Great to see you, Mr. Secretary. Well done. Well done. I caught the pun at the beginning that it's fitting to be here. Am I the only one who caught that? I thought that was pretty good. We're also joined by a tremendous list of leaders of this community. I want to thank Congressman Jerry Nadler for all he does fighting for us in Washington. He just hosted a delegation meeting where we had a chance to sit down in Washington and talk about how he is working so hard to bring money back to our state. And I want to give a round of applause to Congressman Jerry Nadler. Again, our Secretary of State, thank you for all you. We just, our Borough President Mark Levine was here. We had to run out to probably some other announcement, but I see him almost every other day of the week, it seems, but he's doing a great job as well. Our council members, I was once a council member, so never underestimate the power of the council members. We have Eric Botcher here, as well as Keith Powers. Let's give them a round of applause. Hope Knight is here, the president and CEO of ESD. Where are you, Hope? Right over here. Hope, thank you. Thank you. Someone who knows every borough like the back of her hand and now knows all 62 counties. So thank you for all you do for us as well. Barbara Blair, the president of the Garment District Alliance, is here. Barbara, thank you for hosting us. Thank you, Barbara. And Dr. Joyce Brown, the president of the Fashion Institute of Technology. I want to thank her for hosting us this afternoon. What a great leader she is. She's hosted us many times, and I always appreciate what you do. And this place is just an amazing place. And I also want to mention, we have businesses and successful business. We have Kathy Wild from the New York City Partnership for New York here as well. So Kathy, thank you. And Mark Jaffe here as well. So thank you for joining us. Yes, it's Fashion Week. Guess where I just was? Fashion show. Flew down from Albany, had a chance to drop by, and in my world, I'm always excited because they're kind of quick. You can stop in and see something quite extraordinary. But the Michael Kors show was just on. But when you go into a room like that and you see, especially the young talent that is drawn to this community and institutions like FIT, because they're living their dream. And there's no better place to live their dream if you want to be a creator, an innovator, an entrepreneur, than to come right here in the city. So to see how crowded the streets were, the throngs of people outside, it was just really felt invigorating. It felt like New York was back. And I love that sense. And for 79 years, this institution, has really been an international leader and absolutely makes us so proud to be the home of this institution where, again, I mentioned, I don't know if these are finished works of art. I'm going to guess they're not quite done, but I think just to see, what goes into elements of design and the kind of people that come here, the creativity, the passion. So you just walk down the streets of the city, you see these individuals, and there's just like there's no stopping them. And others who've come through this institution, like Michael Kors and Nina Garcia and Calvin Klein, and I had a chance to also become very good friends with one of your trustees for 12 years, Deirdre Quinn, the founder of Lafayette 148, and I know her very well, and I think she tells a funny story of how she's Irish. Her father told her, Irish women don't become designers. They're just kind of in this culture, how could someone like you make it? And she did. And so people like that make us proud as New Yorkers to know that their connection to this institution is strong. But the garment district, we all know what it is. But the rest of the world also knows as well. And you can say Paris and Milan and London, okay. Seriously, they don't compare to what we have right here. This is the place, again, the most creative people in the world come here, and New York City is truly the fashion capital of the world. Think about 900 fashion companies right here, 900, 180,000 people working in this industry. That's what gets my attention. That's what I love about this, those individuals who've made this their home, and they're not zooming into life, they're here. And the creative energy that happens when people come and they want to share their ideas and they come up with a vision together. And truly, it's almost 6% of our entire New York City workforce, which is huge, about $10.9 billion in wages, some of which ends up in our state budget. So thank you very much for that as well, for contributing to the services we can provide for all New Yorkers. So, and also, what I saw was quite extraordinary during the pandemic, an industry that basically just stopped. I mean, the supply chains, people getting materials and fabrics and leathers from other parts of the world, it all stopped. People were not allowed to come into work. And so I came here during the toughest times and had a chance to go into some of the places that it so quickly converted into as a military, it's like a wartime operation, where they were making masks and gowns and shipping them to people who so desperately needed them. So it was beautiful to see what happened during that time, and coming together that still stays with me when I realize that there's a lot of loss of income, a loss of opportunity, a lot of loss of hope for people, but they came together for the common purpose of lifting up New Yorkers through their talents. And so I want to thank them for what they've done for us as well. And you think about this area, this neighborhood, back in the 1800s, this garment industry grew faster than any other industry in the country. It was just between early 1800s. I mean, this is where people wanted to be. You watch shows like The Gilded Age, those clothes were made right here, and we set the trend. We were the trendsetters. And we had immigrants come here. In early days, it was the Polish and Russian immigrants who came here and found work. When language is a barrier, they could still find that universal language of making things and creating things. And so they would do piecework in the small factories. And eventually, almost 10% of the whole economy was the garment makers. And so it's declined somewhat, a little bit, and that's all right. That's all right, because when you go down, you know where you're going to go next. You're going up. And I believe that this neighborhood has tremendous potential to tell a story of immigrants coming here, of creative people coming here, of creating trends and setting trends that the rest of the world will emulate. So let's not lose that sense of identity, that sense of place that is so powerful here. And I think that we can reimagine what we do here. It's a center for commerce, a destination for tourism. People come here, they want to see the places where the fashion is innovated. And this is really an economic engine for downtown and Midtown. It's also, there's a lot of square feet here. So let's think about the next wave, reimagining, reinventing ourselves over and over again. There's a lot of hotels here. People want to be down here, over 53 hotels and 31 hotels just opened the last decade. So this district We have our challenges. Every neighborhood has its challenges, but I really do believe, we're starting to see a turnaround and, statistically on the crime rate. I talk to the mayor all the time about what we're going to be doing. You got to feel safe, but also to be safe. And statistics will say that, violent crimes and shootings are down very dramatically from what they had done during the peak of the pandemic. We're back to pre-pandemic levels. That is good news, because the alternative could have been, it could have kept going up. And there are cities in our country right now that are still facing these challenges, and they don't feel like there's a turnaround anytime soon. Our turnaround has already happened, and we need to lean into that as community and business leaders. We're the ones that people are going to look to for that sense of confidence. Do we feel good about this community? Do we feel we're on the right track? Because when we feel that sense of possibility and share it with others, that's how it spreads, and that's how it takes hold, that we are on a different path, a different trajectory. So I know this neighborhood needs a little bit of extra help. I thank everyone who's involved in applying for a program we call New York Forward. I like that direction, New York Forward. And so we have an opportunity to allocate money based on an application. It's competitive. We don't just hand this out to everybody. You have to compete against other communities. But I'm really proud to announce that this Yarmouth district will receive $4.5 million through this program to work on it's a chance to revitalize the neighborhood, but also leaning into the historic nature of it and not losing that sense of place and history. So it's about improving neighborhoods, keeping everything in place, streetscapes. What changes a neighborhood, when I was a council member, you come through and you fix curbs and you fix the street, you put a couple benches in and street lights. You can create a whole different sense of place just with a few of those physical changes, gathering places, parks. So what we can do here with this grant, and right now this is the money that you've asked for, you won, congratulations. And now the next step is for you and the community members to come up with the vision to execute it. And then we'll come back another time. I'm always looking for a reason to come back to this neighborhood and to announce what those projects are. So dream big, dream big. Think about the creative opportunity you have just to have unrestricted money, not totally unrestricted. You can't go shopping and buy new clothes with it, for example, as much as you may want to in this neighborhood. But to think about what this community can be. What do we want to look back at this time a few years from now and look back and say, 2023 was a turning point when people thought that this might have been an area starting in decline. And we said, no, we're stopping that from happening. We're stopping it. And you'll have been part of that story by being here today and also being the leaders who are going to help make that come to fruition. So think about bringing new people, new businesses, new industries, tourists, and also never forget that what one urban planner, William White, once said, what attracts people most is other people. So we get that critical mass here, that, again, the energy that is so identified with New Yorkers pre-pandemic and now post-pandemic. So I want to make sure that we invest in our neighborhood, our communities, and I thank all of you for being also the stewards of a great, powerful story right here, a story of a community that didn't have an identity. It decided this was going to be the place where fashion that will set the trends for the rest of the world is created. It happened right here, no place else in our country and the world. So that is something we should all be proud of. So thank you very much. I look forward to coming back, as I mentioned, more announcements. So let's hear from our great Congressman, Jerry Nadler, who's always looking to bring money. I'm sure he could help us bring even more to this neighborhood. We can kind of keep building on that success. But what a great leader we have here in Jerry Nadler. Let's hear a few words from him as well.
Thanks to Governor Hochul. Thanks to her, this $4.5 million in funding will help jumpstart the transformation of New York's storied garment center as it reaches an inflection point in its history. The garment district remains home to many of the world's most renowned fashion designers, and its centralized location in Midtown Manhattan has opened doors for new economic opportunities beyond the apparel industry. I look forward to working with local leaders and the state to implement this funding, which will improve safety and quality of life for residents and tourists alike, while embracing the full potential of this historic community. And now I'd like to introduce a very important person, Barbara Blair.
Welcome to the Garment District, Governor Hochul. Secretary of State Robert Rodriguez and Congressman Jerry Nadler, thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Brown, thank you for hosting us. There you are. Thank you for hosting us. And thank you so much for the good news that you've brought to us today. As everyone in this room knows, the Garment District has been home to American fashion for over 100 years. And at one time, it supported 200,000 fashion industry jobs in the neighborhood. The district has a rich history, and now with the governor's announcement, we can look forward to a bright future. Situated in the most important transportation hub in the world that includes Penn Station, Port Authority, the Times Square subway, and Grand Central, to name a few, the Garment District is critically important to New York. The governor knows our neighborhood has been struggling to a greater degree than the rest of Midtown with the challenges of tenants returning, and investments in the public realm are sure to aid in the recovery and its future. Capital improvements that are comprehensive and coordinated will create a coherent pedestrian experience in Midtown and will make the Garment District a more appealing place to live, work, or visit. Today's announcement leverages other commitments that the city and state have made, including the intention to allow commercial buildings to convert to residential use, which will create a more vibrant 24/7 neighborhood and support our ground floor retail and restaurants. The conversions will answer a desperate need for more housing in New York City and absorb unused office space. Proposed legislative measures will address social conditions in the neighborhood, including the spike in crime and the prevalence of individuals suffering from addiction and mental illness. Addressing these challenges and investing in capital improvements will go a long way towards creating opportunities for economic development in the Garment District. Thank you, Garment District Board of Directors. Steve Kaufman, our co-chair, is here. I see Tom Durrell. I see Michael McMahon. Christian Brocious, I hope. Are there other board of directors that are here? Thank you so much for your support in our work at the Garment District Alliance. And thank you to Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine, who unfortunately left, Council members Botcher and Powers, and Community Boards 4 and 5 for supporting our application to the state. Governor Hochul, on behalf of the Garment District community, the fashion industry that has made its home here since the 1900s, the designers, manufacturers, and suppliers that fuel the global fashion industry, and our wide and diverse group of businesses and stakeholders, thank you. Your commitment to investing in the Garment District will assure that it takes its place as the vibrant connective tissue of our central business district and New York's transportation nexus. So I think, may I ask our speakers for a picture together? And thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated while